How are you like a block of stone? And what does that have to do with authenticity? Well, we'll come back to that. Now, in our last video, we looked at what authenticity really means, why we might have become inauthentic, and why we should aim to be, though not become, authentic. In other words, the whats and the whys. In this video, we'll look at the how. In our last video, we looked at three aspects of authenticity. First, living according to your highest values and aspirations. Second, actualizing your fullest potentials. And thirdly, practicing kindness and compassion as you pursue your goals and dreams. But how do we discover or rediscover our authenticity? Well, I've got 4 ideas for you, plus a little bonus, so stay till the end. Idea 1. Stop being inauthentic, or why you're a block of stone. So, how are you like a block of stone? Well, the answer lies in a quote from Judith Hanson Lasseter. Now, she's a physiotherapist and a yoga instructor, and she says, when carving stone, the sculptor removes everything that is not the statue. And the art of revealing beauty lies in removing what conceals it. Now that block of stone is you. It's the natural you, without growth, development, evolution. The outside conceals all you could possibly be if you just took things as they are and didn't make any effort to change. But you are also that beautiful statue locked away inside, a potential waiting to be brought forth if you work on it. Now, this best version possible, right, of the ultimate you is actually what the authentic you is, and that's what we're trying to bring out. Now, what about the outside? Well, the outside is covered with things like fungus, mud, grime. Now, these are the facades, the masks and affectations that we've put on ourselves. For so long, they seem to be a part of us. Now, some of it might even look good. For example, some pretty flowers could be growing on top. But that's just the surface material stuff. Now, the danger is that the longer we live on the surface, the greater the chances we'll lose touch with our deeper selves. Now, the outside is also liable to be peed or shat on by any passing animal needing a convenient spot. And that's what happens when you lose touch with yourself and you live your life in a way that serves the purposes and priorities of other people. Now, sure, you'll be well liked, but you'll also lose touch with your own purpose. So the counterintuitive thing is that finding your authenticity is not so much about finding out what to do, but rather realizing what not to do. So stop hiding your emotions if not expressing them is making you unhappy. Stop ignoring the wrong relationship, the wrong job, the wrong decisions, hoping things will get better. Hey, if they've been the same way for the last 3, 5, 10 years, chances are they're not going to change. Now stop doing or saying things just to get someone to like you. Stop agreeing with views just because they're current and cool. And stop pursuing the material stuff that society tells you that you really want. Things like status, power, and money, if you know deep down they're not really going to add to your life. Identify the things that are not you, go against your values, are detrimental to your growth, and impede where you want to go. Then strip them away. Idea 2. Identify your values. Now, your values are like compass points. Without them, you'd lose your direction. Now, when your thoughts, your decisions, and your words are aligned with your values, you feel good, you feel comfortable, right? You feel energized. But when they're not, you feel a sense of discomfort. Now, when this happens often, the accumulation of all these dissonances make you unhappy and unfulfilled, maybe even without you realizing it. And that's why living a value-based life will almost always guarantee a happier, more fulfilling life, though not always an easier one. So, for example, if one of your values is integrity, and you found an envelope stuffed with money, and you could get away with stealing it without anybody knowing, you still wouldn't do it. And after all, integrity, as they say, is doing the right thing when no one is looking. And if you're not living a value-based life, you could be, and if you're a good person with a conscience, you could have all the money, the status, the power, and in fact, from the outside, you could look like you've got the perfect life going on, but you could be the most depressed person on the inside. So a key idea is to identify your values. Now, here's an exercise I give my coaching clients that could be really useful. Now, step 1, find some quiet time and then write down as many values as you can on a piece of paper. If you need ideas, check out the article I'll link to below and have a look at the long list there. Now, pick any that you think might be you. Now, then after that, you look through everything you've written. You'll probably find that there are very similar sounding values written down, so choose the one that you think fits you the best and cross out the rest. What you'll end up with is a shorter list of values that really resonate with you. Now, the next step, get a notebook. On a separate page, write down a value as a heading. Now, what you're going to do for the next 2 weeks every day is to pay close attention to your significant interactions, your actions, your decisions, maybe even your conversations and your words. Now, write each of these down under one of the value pages. Now, if you did something significant that exemplifies a value you didn't think to write down, well, create a new value page. Now, what this will do at the end of 2 weeks is to give you greater clarity on what your values really are, how well you're living them, and where you might need to do a bit of fine-tuning, including maybe considering that some of those values you wrote down really weren't that important to you after all, but at least you'll have a clearer idea. Idea 3. Learn to use the N-word. Now, what good is it if you decide to try to find your authenticity, and then the next time an opportunity arises for you to be inauthentic, you can't reject it? Now, you need to learn to use the N-word. No. N-O, no, right? Now, no isn't just something you say to your boss or your wife or your kids or your husband or your friends. No is also something you need to learn to say to yourself. The self that wants immediate gratification or short-term pain avoidance. Now, that can be very uncomfortable. But comfortable is just going down the same road you were before, and nothing will change. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're asking, why did I come to this party when I really didn't want to meet anybody here? Why did I like that post when I thought it was rubbish? Why did I say yes to this date if I really didn't find this person interesting or attractive? Why am I still in this relationship that's toxic if it doesn't give me the love and the support that I need? Now, even if you were too soft, too scared, and too surprised to say no at first, hey, that last one isn't as ridiculous as it sounds, right? I mean, if you're I hesitate to use this word nowadays, if you're a nice person, often your reflex could be to say yes. Now, even if you didn't say no to any of these things, don't make the mistake of thinking, well, I already said yes, I already committed, I might as well see it through. No. Realize it's not too late to back out. If you feel you made a mistake, reverse course and correct it. So leave that party, unlike that post, cancel that date, exit that relationship. Once you get used to saying no to the things that don't matter, that go against your values, what you really want, and where you want to go, it will become easier with time. Idea 4. Identify your weaknesses. It's really important to identify root causes for why we're inauthentic, and that rabbit hole can go quite deep. So for example, maybe you didn't look after yourself, your appearance, your health, your personal development, so you feel unattractive. And the first time another person shows interest in you, you feel compelled to jump at the chance, even if you know that it's not the right person deep down, right? Happens very commonly. The idea that, well, some relationship is better than no relationship. Now here, issues might be desperation and low self-esteem. Now you need to try to identify and fix those. Now another example, maybe you're lonely, right? You don't have many friends, and you notice how people tend to rally around some cool person, right? Liking and commenting on his Facebook posts. So you feel compelled to do the same in order to feel like a part of this cool set and to be noticed. Now here, issues might be lack of your own identity and a need for external validation. Now you need to fix those too. Now in many cases, a good life coach can help you. But in other cases, you might need professional counseling. Now either way, it might feel embarrassing at first, but don't be embarrassed and don't feel bad about it. It takes great courage to look at yourself and then identify those weaknesses and acknowledge that you've got something to work on. I mean, hey, look, I'm a coach myself, but I'll be the first to tell you I've got a coach. In fact, I've got 2 coaches myself, because I feel it's so important to identify my weaknesses and my blind spots and then work to improve on them. And that has gone a long way on my own path towards authenticity. So I highly recommend it. Bonus idea: find your life purpose. Finally, I want to briefly mention an idea just to get you thinking, and that is discover your life purpose. Now, life purpose is a huge topic, and I'll do a separate video on it soon. In fact, it's one of the I would say it's what my coaching tends to focus on, because it's so important to helping somebody discover their authenticity and living the life that they want. But in case you haven't heard of it, here's a brief overview. Now, you can think of life purpose as the overarching theme and mission in your life. Your main driving force and your personal why for being here. Your unique contribution to the world around you. And because your life purpose carries your personal imprint, authenticity is almost always inbuilt into it as you carry it out. You just can't be fake and still have the passion and the drive to accomplish what it takes to achieve it. That's why discovering your life purpose and working on it, it's a really important step towards finding your authenticity. All of this is going to take deep inner work, reflection, discovery, learning to say no, finding your true, deepest weaknesses and then working on them, discovering and working on your life purpose. And you may not like what you discover about yourself. After all, you may have called others hypocrite or fake before. But discovering your authentic self is a really important journey that will shape the rest of your life. A life that's authentic is fuller and more meaningful. I mean, imagine living a life according to your values with only the right people in your life. Not having to second guess what you do or say, just letting yourself flow and be. becoming the best possible you, and achieving your deepest dreams. Now that's a life worth living. Alright? So that's my primer on authenticity, and we're going to go in depth on this as well as life purpose in future videos. So please like this video, subscribe, hit that notifications button, and you'll know when my other videos come out, especially that one on life purpose. I'm really looking forward to sharing that video with you. Alright, please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you soon.